Good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. Today's video is on learning, specifically how you can learn things, skills. And the genesis for this video was I was going back and looking at some old videos of mine, and one of them was, what do you bring to the table? And I highly recommend you go watch that video before you watch this one if you're not familiar with it. And just right up front, it's kind of a bummer video. It's not a feel-good video for a lot of people. You're not going to leave that video going, yes, Pastor Joe made me feel good this morning. But it's truth. It's hard truth, slap you in the face truth. So if you haven't seen What Do You Bring to the Table, I'll put a link to it down in the description. And you can go watch that. All right, then we're going to cover 6 things that you need to learn. All right, cue the intro. This is a ginger cookie, homemade by my wife. This is sriracha. That's something. We're back. Hey, I hope you got the chance to watch that video. If not, you'll probably want to go back and watch it after this. Whatever. Let's get going on learning. What does it take for you to learn? I've kind of broken it down into 6 steps, 6 things, 6 aspects that you need to possess in order to learn something. And the first thing I almost called ego, but I'm kind of trying to stick with action words, and so it's understand. You have to understand that you don't know everything. You have to understand that you don't know everything you need to know. This goes for me too, right? Everything I say to you applies to me too. So you have to understand. You have to understand there is a need for you to learn. And you have to suppress your ego a little bit because, you got to understand that you're not all that in all things. There's always something to learn. So the first thing is understand. And then following right on the heels of that is desire. And actually desire is hugely important. There are a lot of people out there who they've achieved nirvana, right? I am without desire. Right? They just like their life static like it is. They have no desire to improve. If you're in that state, if you have no desire, you will not learn. And so you have to desire to learn. You have to want to get better. You have to want to learn new things. That desire, that drive has to be there. In selection courses, I went to a few, and the Special Forces Selection Course, SFAS as it was called at the time, at the end of that 21 days, they basically tell you, you now have earned the right, you have demonstrated the capacity that you have the capacity to learn, right? And you have the desire so that we're going to let you go forward now in more training. And so you have to have desire, and it's amazing, most of the guys who didn't make it, when it came down to it, they just found out that their desire was just not that strong. Because really a lot of those types of courses, they test for multiple things. That don't let me oversimplify it, but a big thing is just drive and desire. How bad do you want it? Most people, not so much. But that's for that. For you learning a new skill set or something, you just have to have a desire to learn, to do it. The next thing you have to do, so that's understand, and that's desire. The third thing is apply. You actually have to apply yourself. You have to try. You have to work. And as much as we would all like to be, man, what is that guy's name in the Matrix? Is it Nemo? Whatever, the head guy, right? The main guy in the Matrix. As much as we would like to have somebody plug these things into us, and then we just sit there while we're sleeping and we wake up knowing jujitsu and kung fu and how to speak Mandarin and Cantonese, and it would be really nice, right? Or another version of that is the tape recorders they used to sell with tapes that you would listen to at night so you would learn something. As much as we would like that, guys, it's not easy. Nothing good comes easy. No pain, no gain. You're going to have to apply yourself, and that requires effort, and effort is uncomfortable. Whether you're lifting weights or learning a new language, you've got to get outside of your comfort zone to learn, to get better, right? To improve. And so you have to apply yourself. So understand, desire, apply. The next point that we're going to cover is submit. We don't like that. I submit to no one. What's that Gadsden flag, right? Don't tread on me. I'm not submitting. This part right here and no further. You got to submit. You have to realize that there is an instructor and a student relationship in whatever you're trying to learn, and you have to accept your role. And I'll give you an example. A guy paid me a good bit of money once to teach him, amongst other things, martial arts, some basic martial arts moves, self-defense, if you will. And so I'm teaching something. Now, you know, if somebody grabs you by the shirt, there's a bazillion things that you can do that'll be effective, you know, to react to that. So I can't teach a bazillion things all at once, and I don't know a bazillion things. And so I'm like, all right, here's what you got to do, right? And so I'm going over this with the guy, and he's like, oh, yeah, but what I like to do when somebody, here, grab me. What I like to do when someone grabs me is this. And I'm like, okay, so here's what we're going to do, right? And then I'm teaching him something else, and I don't remember the details. I remember the guy's face. I don't remember all the details, but I'm probably like, you know, boom, here comes the punch. What do you do? And he's like, oh, no, I like to do this. And I'm like, okay. Well, the third time he did that, I stopped him, and I said, look, you are paying me a lot of money to teach you some things. I am happy to sit here and take your money and allow you to teach me things, but I don't think that's the right thing to do. And it kind of deflated him. And in retrospect, I think he would have been happier if I'd have just taken his money and let him teach me things. I really do. Which gets to another whole psychology of classes and students, which I don't feel like going into now. But the bottom line is, if you want to learn something, you are going to have to submit to the instructor. You are going to have to realize that this person is teaching me, and I am going to learn. And it's an attitude, but again, it kind of flows from ego, right? You have to just put yourself in the position, okay, I can learn something from everybody. And you can learn something from everybody. So after you understand, I'm looking at notes, desire, apply, and submit, you have to do, which should be very familiar to those of you on this channel, right? I'm always telling you to get out there and do. And I've talked about this before, but I know we have new viewers. Most of you watching this are American. And if you're not American, you're Western European or Australian, which means you are European. Even if you're African American, even if you're Native American, natives, Indians, you know, whatever, politically correct terms, whatever, you know who I'm talking about. You have been raised in a system that is based on Greek mindset thinking, not on Eastern. Now, some of you are from the Eastern, you know, from Asia or Russia. Russia thinks in an Eastern way, which kind of frustrates the heck out of Europeans because they don't get it. It's like, oh, you're a white guy like me, so you think like I do. No, they don't. But let me just give you a little example again very quickly, because the whole thing here is do. Westerners have this theory, if you will, concept that explain it to me so that I understand, and then I can go do it. In fact, that's exactly what I'm doing on this video. I'm trying to explain something to you so you understand it, so that you take these lessons and go apply them, right? Easterners don't think that way. Their brain works like, let me do this, and then I will understand. And the example I use, because it's an easy one, is when teaching someone how to punch, right? You know, and in a Western culture, teaching an Eastern art, you know, it's like, okay, here's how you make a fist. You roll your hand up really tightly, and you know, there's no loose, and you go through all that whole thing. And then it's like if you're just going to throw like a karate punch, right? You start at your hip with your hand turned up, and as it comes out, it rotates around, and you make contact with the first two knuckles. Go! Right? And you go over that, and you explain to everybody, and everyone's like nodding, and then you're like, all right, now everybody get in that position. Do your fists like this, stand like this. and you teach it. Now, when I took Taekwondo as a young child, like 10, 11 years old, they just told us, get like this, start throwing punches, and when you did it wrong, the guy would come up and hit you. And after about the 10,000th punch, this little light bulb goes off in little Joey Fox's head. Oh, I get it. I do it like this. It works better. It feels better, and I don't get hit. Right? So you do, and then you understand. Americans, Westerners, people with a Western mindset want to understand, and then they can go do it. All right, so the bottom line is you got to go do. We're fond of saying the Hebrew way of learning is by doing. Just do it. And once you start doing it, you will learn it. All the book knowledge in the world, all the internet, YouTube knowledge in the world is not going to help you if you have not put hands on. You've got to go put hands on. And not only do you have to put hands on, you have to put hands on in the classroom, and then you have to go start putting hands on whatever that thing is you learned in all different kinds of situations. Sure, classroom situations are designed to be ideal, easy. Let's get this thing done. Let's accomplish the task. All right, now let's go do it in rough terrain, or let's go do it at night, or let's go do it when I haven't slept in, a day and a half. Dun, 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 dun. You have to do under many different conditions so that you actually learn, so that you actually own the skill set. I know how to set up a tarp. I went to a class at the park and they showed me how to set up a tarp. I'm good. No, you're not good. You need to go set that tarp up all over the place in many different situations, and then you can say you've learned how to set up a tarp. And the final part of the learning matrix, if you will, is fail. You have to fail. To truly learn, you have to fail every now and then. You are not pushing your envelope, as fighter pilots like to say. You are not pushing yourself hard enough if you do not occasionally fail. If you never fail, you're just living back here in the safe zone. And so you're not going to get any better. You have to occasionally fail. Occasionally. You do not want to make a habit of failing. But I tell you what, a friend of mine just talked about, he taught me how to make bow drill fires. I'd tried forever and failed. And he gives classes also. And he was talking about how he did this one class where a bunch of students came out, and he was teaching them a variety of things. And one of them was, he taught them the ways that don't work to start a fire. And they learned that by doing. He didn't teach them that. He just provided the opportunity for them to learn ways that don't work for starting a fire. And what he meant by that was many people failed. Well, when you fail, if you have the right learning mindset, you're like, okay, why did I fail? What can I improve on next time to get better? And so you do have to occasionally fail. And so understand, desire, apply, submit, and occasionally fail. Now, you do not know something. Well, I know how to do that. I know that. You don't know it unless you have done it successfully many times. Many times, like I said, in all different kinds of conditions. Something else to understand is that most people, you can learn things. Most people can learn things. Most people can learn to do most things. Most people in my experience. I hang out with a certain strata of society. I'm suspecting that most of you are in that strata or above. Other than that, you couldn't follow my words. But most people can learn to do most things. Do you think you could repair a carburetor if you really wanted to learn how to do it? Do you think you could program a computer if you really wanted to do it? Do you think that you could stitch somebody up and take out an appendix if you really wanted to do it? I submit to you that most people can, if they want to do it. And so the video, what do you bring to the table, was kind of a bummer. I'd like to end this one on a high note. Look, pick something that you want to learn how to do and go learn it. And you know what I mean by learn. Go learn how to do it. Become a subject matter expert in that thing, so that you have something to bring to the table. All right, I'll see you out there.